Great to be here at Emmanuel Baptist. I've known of your congregation since 1971, when my friend Dick Cruz was assigned here for field education. Dick and I started seminary in the same year, back in 1971, and known a number of your pastors over the years as well. So, good to be with you. This Memorial Day weekend is our opportunity to think back on those who have done significant things in our lives. Obviously, those who fought wars in various places have done something very significant for us. For those who lost their life in the process of that, we celebrate those and remember those folks. We also, of course, think of those who, in our circle of influence, parents, grandparents, children, who've gone on to the Lord before us. And we think about those moments, those places, those situations in which we think about that person in a special way. It might be your recollection of a bedside conversation or a prayer. Or it may be standing in a funeral home or at a church looking into a casket. Or it may be a very pleasant memory of some of the kindnesses that person has done for you. Or it might even be a traumatic memory of something that happened in the relationship that was there. When I spoke to Pastor Brett about speaking today, he said he's been doing a series on kindness, and I wanted to kind of continue that theme, but to weave together the understanding and the celebration of that one person who has done the very greatest thing for us, and that is the Lord Jesus Christ. That is an amazing act of goodness and kindness on the part of Jesus. And the scripture today is Hebrews chapter 9, beginning with verse 11. But when Christ came as a high priest of the good things that are now already here, he went through the greater and more perfect tabernacle that is not made with human hands. That is to say, it is not a part of this creation. He did not enter by means of the blood of goats and calves, but he entered the most holy place once for all by his own blood, thus obtaining eternal redemption. The blood of goats and bulls and ashes of the heifer sprinkled on those who are ceremonially unclean sanctify them so that they are outwardly clean. How much more then will the blood of Christ, who through the eternal Spirit offered himself unblemished to God, cleanse our conscience from acts that lead to death, so that we may serve the living God. For this reason, Christ is the mediator of a new covenant, that those who are called may receive the promised eternal inheritance. Now that he has died as a ransom to set them free from the sins committed under the first covenant. Lord, we ask that you would help us to understand the kindness of Jesus in our life, for us to be fully aware of all of those memories that flood into our lives, both good and bad, and to let the Spirit of Christ flow over us, so that we might serve, as the Scripture suggests, out of that goodness. In Christ's name we pray. Amen. As I led you to thinking about those in your past who've gone on before you, I was reminded of the way life kind of is for us. If you went into one of your closets or maybe down in the basement, you might find a videotape like this or a DVD. Some of the youngsters here don't even know what this VHS tape is about. But for many of us, our life is on a videotape. And it's a tape that plays over and over and over again, thinking about all of the incidents that have been a part of our life at this point. Choices, decisions, sins, missed opportunities, things done to you, things done by you, things done for you. They're all there on the tape. And it seems to be kind of an unending, repeating cycle. And you sometimes sense that tape as a place that I can't stay here. I can't keep being in this space, in this loop of just all rehearsing all of those things that have happened in my life. I can't stay here. And of course, life and response to the videotape of life, to the experiences we've had in life, is really a choice. All that happens to us, all that we do to ourselves or is done to us, really leaves us a choice of being a victim of that or being a victor over that through the power and the shed blood of the Lord Jesus Christ. So today I want to make a little proposition for you, make you a deal. I want you to push the pause button on your tape, that loop that keeps playing over and over and over, so that you don't have to stay here. All right? I want you to push the pause button, sit back, and enjoy the kindness of what Jesus Christ has done for you. Now, to help you pause and enjoy what Christ has done for you, I want you to think about in your mind your 3 most favorite foods. Then I want you to narrow that down to just 1. No, on second thought, let's keep all 3, because I couldn't decide between steak and pizza and ice cream. But I want you to think about your favorite foods. Smell, taste, and understand that the banquet that Jesus Christ has prepared for us in this world and certainly in the world beyond is even greater than the sights and sounds and smells and tastes of those favorite foods that you enjoy. So settle back. Enjoy that smell and that taste, knowing that Christ is there with you. Over many years of ministry and many conversations with people, I have discovered that it is difficult for people. That it is difficult to live, for them to live where they are, in the present here moment. They have a dream and desire to be somewhere else, to stop the loop of the tape and to be in a different space in their life. That is exactly what God understood. When sin was rampant in the world, when sin is rampant in the world, God pushes the pause button. He sends His Son into our lives so that we don't have to stay here, but we can go there. An amazing sacrificial act of the unblemished Son, as He's described in the book of Hebrews. The unblemished Son of God is sacrificed for us so that we are redeemed, we may be redeemed, and we can enjoy the kindness that God has given to us through the Lord Jesus Christ. One of the greatest celebrations of the kindness of Jesus is that we might be kind to ourselves. Now, if you're like me, there are times you make mistakes. You goof up. You fail to do what you should do at the right time in the right way. And you maybe get frustrated with yourself. Now, I am normally a happy and optimistic person. But on the golf course, I make mistakes. And I'll call myself dummy. You dope, why did you do that? Or I might even say, Charlie, why did you do that? I never call myself Charlie, except when I'm disappointed in something I've done. How about you? What do you call yourself? What pet name describes you when you're disappointed with who you are? How is your self-image today? There may be 2 alternatives to answer that last question. You might say, I'm not good enough, I'm not smart enough, and doggone it, nobody likes me. Or you might say the other extreme. I'm great, I'm brilliant, and doggone it, nobody can touch me. Now, Now, either extreme is probably not the appropriate response to the kindness that Jesus has shared with us. But it is sort of the parameters of the responses that we find ourselves in when we find ourselves in the situation in life that we are. When the videotape is spinning and the loop is continuing on, we can't seem to find the pause button. God knows about this videotape. He cares about where you are. He cares about you. Christ died on the cross to take charge of and to change all that is negative or bad in that videotape that spins in your mind cycle. Remember, pause that. We're celebrating the banquet of our most favorite foods, enjoying the kindness of Jesus. In Hebrews verse 14 of chapter 9, through the Spirit, Christ offered himself as an unblemished sacrifice, freeing us from all those dead-end efforts to make ourselves respectable so that we can live all out for God. That happens to be the Message translation of what I read earlier from the New International Version. But do you hear that? Let me say it again. Through the Spirit, Christ offered himself as an unblemished sacrifice, freeing us from all those dead-end efforts to make ourselves respectable, so that we can live all out for God. God hit the pause button, permitted the sacrificial death of an unblemished Son, so that his work might be finished. Jesus said it from the cross. It is finished. And you could read that and say, okay, all of this crucifixion, all of this terror is over. He means it's finished there. But I think he had a much more global, universal perspective in mind when he realized it is finished. All that needs to be done by the sacrificial death of an unblemished Son is finished. The person of Christ completed the work of Christ that we might serve the Spirit of Christ. If you are kind of stuck with really feeling and really believing and putting into practice every day that the work of Christ is finished in your life, I want to recommend a devotional booklet to you entitled, appropriately, It Is Finished. Now, if you go to Amazon or someplace and Google that, there are a bunch of books that come up with that title. But the one you're looking for, the one I'm recommending to you, is the book entitled It Is Finished. It's a 365-day devotional by a man by the name of Tullian Chevalier. Now, I can't expect you to remember that, but if you're looking at it online or in a bookstore, Tullian Chevalier, It Is Finished, a 365-day devotional. Very brief, couple pages each day, and scripture that supports the concept in sort of all full-order dimension of life that the work of Jesus is complete. It is finished for us. What does it mean that it's finished? Well, it means his grace covers our past. It means that his mercy comforts your present state of being. Wherever you are, the here that you are in is comforted by the mercy of Jesus Christ. And his hope enlivens a future of our all-out living for God in a better way, in a better place. Now, what do we mean by grace and mercy? Of course, grace is getting what you don't deserve. Mercy is not getting what you do deserve. Let me illustrate that if I could. Imagine yourself, this is a terrible thing to imagine, but imagine yourself standing in front of a judge in a courtroom. He could offer you mercy by not giving you what you deserve. And then he could say, in addition to that, here is $1 million for you. That's grace. You didn't deserve it, but he gave it to you for whatever reason. Grace is here to there in our relationship with God, in our relationship with one another. And hope is that all-encompassing, upward look at life. Now, you've all lived long enough to know that in your spiritual life, there are ups and downs along the way. But the Spirit of God, the kindness of the Spirit of God working in you, is that the overall pattern is upward. He is sanctifying you. He's making you better day by day, moving you from here to there in an upward pattern, even though there are ups and downs in the graph along the way. He gave himself for us for that purpose, that we might serve him. Therefore, we can indeed delight in the kindness of Jesus. There are a couple of points we need to understand from this. First of all, if you think about the kindness of Jesus, it really goes back even to the Old Testament when we realize that God made us. And if you'll excuse the grammar, God don't make junk. God made us good. In the book of Genesis, it says he made mankind, and it was very good. So God doesn't make junk. If your videotape is saying, you're not worthy, you're unworthy, you're not whole, you're not good enough, you dummy, you dope, whatever you're calling yourself, the kindness of Jesus is saying, pause. Pause that. Stop that. Let the grace of God shower over you, because it is very good. Now, on this videotape in your life, there might be episodes of darkness. In the Gospel of John, chapter 1, it is so profoundly declared, sort of the creation story from the New Testament perspective, that there was darkness everywhere, and the light overcame it. When there's darkness in every corner of our life, it is the light of the Spirit of Jesus Christ and his completed work that overcomes it and changes that environment for us, so that we might, in fact, serve him. Serve the living God in that way. He created us, he redeemed us, he sustains us, that we might serve his people. That we might together help one another in the upward battle, in the other up and down struggle to be sanctified, to be more like Christ, that we might serve one another in that particular way. Now let me suggest to you that if you are still breathing, if every day you're taking in breath, God has a purpose for you. God has a purpose for you as long as you are breathing. So he's asking you to serve, to share, to pray, to give, to encourage others, and to enjoy the kindness of Jesus, and then to let that show on your face, that others might say, wow, I want to be more like you because I see a radiance there that is attractive to me. And that attractive radiance is the kindness of Jesus shining through you. You've all heard the old saying, share the gospel and use words if necessary. Your actions, your facial expression, the joy that is demonstrated in your life is a profound witness to those that you encounter. In a grocery store, in a gas station, in a public park, wherever it might be, people are watching and seeing the kindness of Christ shine through you in that wonderful, amazing way. So one of the outcomes of the kindness of Jesus is that we can serve him. A second outcome is that we might receive the promised eternal inheritance. That's verse 15 of our Hebrews passage, chapter 9. That we might receive the promised eternal inheritance. All too often, we're thinking, oh, someday, when I'm old and a long time from now, I'll experience eternal life with Jesus. But if we really understand the work of Jesus, he's making a difference eternally, beginning right now in our lives. He enters the here that we are in, Clean vessels, ready for service, ready to be called into action to do what God would have us to do. Years ago, when kind of before the idea of permanent press came out, there was a line of clothing put out that was described as wash and wear, which meant you could wash it, pull it out of the dryer off the clothesline, and wear it right away. Wash and wear. Jesus wants us to be like that. He wants us to be washed and cleansed, ready to wear the face of Jesus out into the public when we go from place to place. Clean vessels, ready for service, ready for action. The second thing that this promised eternal inheritance means for us is that we get to reside in a safe place. No more fear, no more doubt, no more self-doubt, regardless of your situation in life. Regardless of how this tape might be spinning in your life, Jesus is saying, my promised eternal inheritance for you is a safe place. That's wonderfully and powerfully important for us. It is a profound simplicity that Jesus is saying, reside with me in a safe place. No more name calling, no more fear, no more panic. You are encompassed by me in a safe place. Whatever situation in life you may find yourself, Jesus promised eternal inheritance. There's safety in that place. And he declared it finished on the cross. The third outcome of promised eternal inheritance is that we become a whole being. No name calling, no name calling of ourselves. We are clean in his eyes. The kindness of God is shown to us through his eyes, and his hands, his feet. And we simply walk into his presence. Imagine that. Walking into the presence of Jesus. Touching his hand. Seeing the scars in his hands and feet. Sensing, experiencing his amazing, kind heart. Demonstrated by him opening his arms. Drawing you in to him closely. Holding you. Saying with every bit of godly power within him, it is finished. And it is okay. I am with you. You can feel his breath touch your cheek. You feel safe. He says, it's finished. Go and serve. Take your hands and your feet and your breath and demonstrate me to those that you encounter along the way. Follow in his footsteps. Sacrificially serving those you encounter in whatever way God would invite you to do. Because you have drawn close to Jesus. And you felt the breath of Jesus on your cheek. You were empowered to move forward in a way that is wonderfully amazing. As Jesus opens his arms and invites you into that amazing banquet, I invite you to go back to those three favorite foods I asked you to talk about, to think about. You were enjoying them in your mind, thinking about the goodness, the joy, the completeness that those are for you. I had you do that because you need to find a good space to be in, learn about the kindness of Jesus. The reality is, if I wanted steak, pizza, and ice cream, I couldn't just dream about it. I'd have to have a plan. I'd have to figure out how I was going to do that. And maybe I wouldn't do them all in the same meal, but I'd have to have a plan. And we don't enjoy that tape that you paused, and if it's a tape that's not pleasant for you, just start pulling it apart. Stop allowing it to rule in your life. Put it in a place that is far away. I'll no longer be influenced by this. I will not let this happen to me again. I will not let this happen to another generation. I will choose the kindness of Jesus over everything else that affects me. Thankfully and graciously, there are many, many positive memories in our life, and those are really wonderfully good things. There are times when there are moments that play loop after loop after loop in our lives that cause us to have a sense of panic, fear, or self-doubt, disappointment, hate. And the kindness of Jesus covers all of that. And he is saying to us, I will no longer let that influence you. It will not happen again. I will help you move from here, whatever that frustration may be, to there, which is a good spot, a good, safe place. Pause the tape. The next step is to stop the tape. Stop those negative pieces of feedback coming to you on a regular basis, and know that there's a better place, a happier place for you. So how do you start implementing the plan? Well, here's some suggestions. As you think about your plan to move to that better place, that better space with Jesus, to erase some of those negative things that encountered your life and have frustrated you along the way, you need to set some priorities. In other words, decide what are the 2 or 3 things that I will do first and foremost in my life. Despite all of this background, all of this baggage, what are the 2 or 3 things I will do first and foremost in my own life that I might enjoy the kindness of Jesus in the safe place that he has placed me? Secondly, this is really not a word in the dictionary, but you need to set some posteriorities. Priorities are the things at the head of the line, posteriorities are at the other end. And those are things that you're going to say, from this day forward, I'm no longer going to do those. I'm going to cut those off. Leave them at the end. Never go back to those things again. I'll stop doing those things right away. Thirdly, you might need to stop negative talk about yourself or about others. Related to negative talk about ourselves, remember, God made you, and God don't make junk. God made you very good. 4th step to help implement your plan might be starting some crucial conversation that you need to have that will change a life situation with a person, with a situation that you might find yourself in. So a simpler way to do all of that planning, all of those steps I just described, is to solve this equation. Now, this might take you back to middle school, junior high, high school algebra, but solve this equation. 3 times 90 equals 50%. 3 times 90 equals 50%. What that equation means is to determine 3 things that you can do in the next 90 days that will improve your life situation by 50%. A simple question with profound results. Identify 3 things, priorities or posteriorities, that you will implement in your life for 90 days, or in the next 90 days, knowing that that will make at least a 50% improvement in your life situation. When we move in that way, the kindness of Jesus floods over us. The finished work of the shed blood, the unblemished one Son of the Lord Jesus, of God himself, the Lord Jesus Christ, makes life better for us. God did that work in Jesus. He wants you to fully enjoy the kindness of the person of Jesus, the one who invites you in. He also wants you to enjoy the eternal promised inheritance of the work of Jesus, the one who died on the cross for all sins, that all takes. It won't be paused, but will be stopped. The negative parts of life, the sin, wrong choices, the things you did, the things done to you, will be stopped, will be covered by the blood of Christ. And in that way, we enjoy the goodness and kindness that Jesus has brought to us. May God give you strength in the next 90 days to do those things